All right, everyone. So we're back and ready to dive into something that's been bugging me a bit.
Oh, let's hear it.
Well, you know how we're all constantly bombarded with these AI leaderboards, GPT-4 this, Claude that, now Gemini's in the mix, and then you have DeepSeek trying to shake things up.
Yeah, it seems like a never-ending battle for the top spot. Makes you wonder what it all really means.
Right. It's easy to think, oh, top of the leaderboard equals the best AI, period. But is that really true? Like, is the AI that wins on these tests always the best for what you or I actually need it to do?
It's a really good question, and the report we've been looking at this week digs into exactly that. It kind of challenges that whole benchmark-centric view of AI.
So what's the deal with these benchmarks then? Are they totally useless?
Not necessarily, but they definitely have their limitations. Tests like MMLU, HelloSwag, Human Evol, they give you a way to compare different AI models, but
What?
they often focus on these very specific kind of academic abilities, like how well can an AI solve a logic puzzle or answer a trivia question, things like that.
Okay, so that makes sense in a control environment. But then when you take that AI and throw it into the real world,
You run into what the report calls the reality gap. So an AI might ace a test on, say, complex reasoning, but then struggle when faced with the messiness and unpredictability of a real-world problem.
so it's like the difference between studying for a test and actually applying that knowledge in the real world.
Exactly. And the report gives a great example of this with the SWE Lancer benchmark. It's designed to test AI on realistic software engineering tasks. And you know what? A lot of the top performing models on other benchmarks, they actually struggle with SW Lancer. It really shows that, being good at a test doesn't necessarily translate to practical coding skills.
Wow, that's a pretty big gap then. And it makes you wonder, are we focusing on the wrong things here?
Well, that's what some AI experts are starting to argue. The report mentions Anka Royal at Stanford HAI. She's been saying that many benchmarks are just too easily gamed, and they don't really measure true intelligence.
Like teaching to the test instead of actually learning.
Right. And Alice Gaddy, she's over at CIS, she points out that as AI models get more and more advanced, a lot of the older benchmarks become too easy. So it gets harder to track real, meaningful progress.
So we might be optimizing AI for benchmarks, not for actually being useful in the real world.
Exactly. And the report highlights that real-world success, it's not just about raw power. It's about a whole bunch of factors.
Like what?
Well, first off, there's cost. That top-ranked model might be super expensive to actually use.
Hmm.
Training these things and then actually running them, it takes a ton of computing power.
So a smaller company or a research lab might not even be able to afford to use the best AI.
Right. And that's why we're seeing models like DeepSeek emerge. They might not be at the very top of every leaderboard, but they offer this interesting cost-performance trade-off. They're still very capable, but much more affordable to use.
So it's like, yeah, a Ferrari might be the fastest car, but can you actually afford to buy one and then, fill it up with gas?
And can you handle driving it? A super powerful AI can be overwhelming if it's not the right fit for your needs. The report also talks about latency.
Latency.
It's the delay in the AI's response.
Yeah.
Like if you're using a chatbot and it takes forever to answer, it doesn't matter how smart the answers are, it's going to be a terrible user experience.
Oh, for sure. Speed is crucial.
Absolutely. And then you have fine-tuning. Can you easily adapt a general AI to your specific data and tasks? That kind of adaptability is key for a lot of real-world applications.
And of course, in certain fields like healthcare or finance, safety and alignment become paramount.
Right. You might even accept a slightly lower benchmark score if it means the AI is more reliable and makes safer decisions in those critical domains.
Makes sense. So taking all this into account, how do we even define the best AI then?
Well, that's the key takeaway, isn't it? The best AI is entirely dependent on the use case, as the report emphasizes. It all comes down to what you need the AI to do and what your priorities are.
So let's go back to DeepSeek for a second. The report mentions that it actually performs really well in mathematical reasoning, sometimes even better than OpenAI's models. Plus, it's way more affordable. So why isn't everyone using it?
This is a perfect example of how benchmarks don't tell the whole story. OpenAI, they've been around longer, they have this huge infrastructure, tons of integrations, a powerful brand, a whole ecosystem built around their models.
Right, so it's not just about the raw performance of the AI itself. It's about all the stuff around it that makes it easy to use and integrate into existing systems.
Exactly. And DeepSeek's focus on open source makes it very appealing to researchers who value transparency and the ability to modify the models.
Okay, so it's all about finding the right tool for the job.
Hmm.
So let's say you're a startup and you need an affordable chatbot.
You might go with something like a fine-tuned Llama 3 or a model from Together AI, even if they don't top all the leaderboards.
But if you're a hospital using AI to help with critical patient decisions,
Well, then you're probably going to prioritize a model that's known for its accuracy and safety, something like Claude 3.5 Sonnet or a specialized medical AI, even if it's more expensive.
and a research lab that's heavily into math might very well choose DeepSeek for its specific strengths and open access.
Precisely. It all comes down to matching the AI to the specific needs and priorities of the user.
So it sounds like the way we evaluate AI is evolving beyond these simple benchmark comparisons.
Yeah, for sure. The report talks about this shift towards what it calls use case-driven testing. It's about evaluating AI in realistic scenarios that actually mirror how it would be used in the real world.
And we also have to think about the deployment environment, right? Like the infrastructure it's running on, the data it's interacting with, all of that.
Absolutely. And something else that's becoming more and more important is the user interface and the overall user experience. I mean, even the smartest AI is useless if people can't easily and safely interact with it.
Makes sense. So lots to think about here. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, just to bring it all together. So those benchmark leaderboards, they're a starting point. They're not the end-all be-all of AI evaluation.
The top AI really depends entirely on what you need it to do.
True real-world performance is about a combination of things. Core capabilities, how much it costs, how fast it is, and those user-centric design principles like safety and usability.
Awesome. So next time you see those AI rankings, remember to look beyond the leaderboard and think about the bigger picture.
And here's a final thought for you all. Considering all these different factors, what overlooked AI models might actually be a better fit for the challenges or curiosities you're facing? Maybe there's a hidden gem out there that's perfect for your needs.
Food for thought. All right, that's it for today. Catch you all next time.